Hey everyone, this is Puzzle, and today we will look at amazing details and scary, creepy Easter eggs that can be noticed in Stalker 2. This episode should be creepy and will reveal several scary stories of this world. A huge unfinished house anomaly that wants to kill you, this is the famous cage, and yes, here you can get a chic thing, which I will keep secret for now. The only surviving stalker after the first emission in the zone. A mass grave of people, an abandoned kindergarten with a big underground secret, and something else, so don't forget to subscribe to the channel, as here you will see all the secrets of the game and will get daily videos. So the first detail for today, this huge unfinished building. At first glance it's just an abandoned house, but no, this is an anomaly called Cage, in which a huge number of people have died. Entering inside, you will notice this anomaly. Going further and moving toward the top of the building, you will hear voices more and more. But the scariest thing, you will start having visual hallucinations. And in this building, it's very dangerous because climbing up you will have to walk along cornices, abandoned beams, and jump from platform to platform at great heights. Also, the building will drain all your strength, and you will constantly lose health, so stock up on medkits. The path will be long. The closer to the top, the more voices of the people who died here. However, the reward at the top makes it worth climbing and risking your life so much. At the top, you will find the Slavody suit, which not only looks insanely cool, but also has very good parameters for surviving in the zone. Also, here you will find a lot of supplies and a note from people who are kindly surprised that we made it here without dying and gladly give us all the contents stored on this roof. They also recommend looking at the sunset from this roof, but in my case, it's already night. Not this time, I guess. And yes, another detail, or better to say Easter egg. There will be a rare collectible can of energy drink with a unique design on it, namely an image of a stalker. By the way, after finding it, there will be one problem. You will need to go back down. Next, we will talk about other creepy things, for example, the abandoned kindergarten with underground tunnels. But first, if you like details and Easter eggs in Stalker 2, you should check out my previous video about Balls, Sidorovich, and more. You'll definitely like it. Be sure to do this after finishing this video. You won't regret it. And we return to the details. During emissions, monsters in Stalker 2 also hide in buildings. This detail is insane because sometimes you can run into a house and see a crowd of mutants there. Fortunately, in my case, there was a bug, and they weren't very dangerous while waiting out the emission. But I barely survived here because the emission penetrated even the thin walls of this kindergarten, and I survived only because I found underground tunnels right under the building, and I'll show them to you a bit later. Don't turn off. Meanwhile, we return to the cage anomaly, and we find this man sitting here. This is Captain Kromov, and he sits opposite a cemented pit with a year written on it. The captain sits in absolute solitude, but constantly talks to someone and remembers the old days.
I guess I lost our bet, Luther. I'm over 40 and still not a general. Hey, I brought you a bottle, just like you asked. Give me some space, would you?
As it turns out, the captain was a survivor of the second emission in the zone, the emission that created the zone we see in the game. At the moment of the emission, he and his men didn't know about radiation and didn't have any devices, sensors, or protective gear to survive. The captain miraculously survived, but his entire team died. They gathered them, placed them in one huge barrow grave, and poured cement over it, probably so that the radiation from their bodies wouldn't spread further. The captain still talks to his comrades and sits here all night drinking vodka and snacking on sausage with them.
Mika, your brother, our platoon commander. The mutants tore him to shreds, you know. There was nothing left to bury.
Listen to this story from him yourself.
Why are you drinking all alone? Something happened?
Yeah, about 20 years ago. See that foundation? It's a grave, Stalker. A mass grave.
Can you tell me more about that?
You've heard of the second disaster, right? That's what they call the very first emission. The one that created the zone. It happened back in 2006. They sent in the military to blow the whole place to Kingdom Come. I was one of the first to get here. I served with Tachenko's company. It was a hell I'll never forget. We were totally unprepared. Nobody knew anything. We had no detectors, no protection. So many of our men died.
The men who were buried here, did you serve with them?
Yeah, another emission hit us when we were about to go to the middle of the zone. I thought the world was about to end right there. When I climbed out of my foxhole, the place was littered with corpses. Then the survivors began pouring in. Tachenko was told there was no extraction coming, so he ordered us to bury the dead. We found some intact equipment, collected the bodies, and poured concrete over them. Then Tachenko told HQ to fuck off and found a duty. That's a piece of our history, Lorna.
But that's not all. As I said during the emission, I hid in a creepy kindergarten. With rust on toys and playground slides, this place looks very creepy, but it became even scarier for me when I almost died taking cover in the walls of this place and urgently started looking for shelter, jumping into some hole underground. It turned out that under the kindergarten, there's a whole network of tunnels. Jumping there, I survived the emission, but I had to spend time in this scary place. Now I understood why I met Snorks in this house. Snorks are another form of mutated human. More feral in nature, they're usually found underground, sprinting on all fours toward you to swipe and kick, and all the tunnels were full of these creatures. Unfortunately, I had very few bullets, so I barely dealt with them and started exploring this place. As it turned out, underground there was a whole small village and many ways out. Exploring the paths and looting bags and boxes, I noticed that in the broken houses there are still dozens of skeletons of people who once lived there. By the way, walking along the tunnels and breaking down a boarded up door, you can get out into a nearby village and see a huge escalator that was digging up the ground here, which probably caused most of the houses to sink underground. The place itself is creepy, as all this is connected with the creepy kindergarten and the Snorks living in the tunnels. Such a scary detail. Another interesting detail is lightning striking stalkers. I couldn't record this video myself, so I took it from Reddit, and here's the credit to the author. As we can see, sometimes lightning can strike even a stalker wandering in a safe zone, which is an amazing detail in Of course, these are rather small details, but in my opinion, they are very nice and create atmosphere. If you would like to see more of this, please put your like and subscribe to the channel. This really helps small channels like mine, and of course, don't forget to watch yesterday's video with details from Stalker 2. This was Puzzle. See you in the next video.